So your brother's going to take you to Madison, slower rate than the ambulance, and you have to leave your injured husband behind.
Yes.
Correct. Have they done a CT scan on him yet?
No.
Has anybody really paid any attention to him yet?
I don't, at that point in time, I was the only one in the room talking to him before we left. And when he said that he didn't want to, if it delayed time getting her out of the hospital, that he said, I don't want to see her if it delays time, you know. And so I kissed him, and he said, you have to go, and you have to go, and you have to get her there. And I said, okay. And he said, don't worry about me, I'm fine. And I kissed him and told him I loved him, and we were on our way.
Do you have other children?
Yes, I do.
How old are your other kids?
My son at that time was 7 years old. Nancy was 9.
So just the 2 children?
Yes.
Do you have any more kids now?
No.
All right, so when you get to Madison, what happens?
I finally get to Madison, and I walk in the door, and in the emergency room, well, on my way down, I had cell phoned a friend that lives in Madison. She's my best friend. And I told her, I talked to the ER staff and told her she would be the proxy until I got down there. If there was some reason you couldn't reach me by cell phone, that she could be my proxy and make decisions. She's in the medical field as well. She's an athletic trainer and physical therapist. So when I met her at the ER, there was a priest there.
Any idea what time this is?
It's got to be close to midnight or after. And I met that priest, and the first thing I thought of was that she had passed away. And on the way down there, there was a big bunch of lights towards the Dane County exit, Dane County Airport exit, and they had actually held up traffic and everything with all these lights, and I thought, oh my gosh, the ambulance had an accident or something happened to the ambulance, and it was actually a shootout that was on the highway. I tell you, the luck.
Fortunately, your daughter was through the
she was way past that, which I didn't realize. You know, we didn't think we were that far behind them, but we were just taking our time getting down there safe, and so we had all these things running through our heads. And when I got there, like I had said, I saw the priest and thought the worst had happened. And I said, what are you doing here? They were kind of rude. And he said, well, your pastor had called and wanted me to have some religious support here for you.
Are you Catholic?
No, I'm Methodist.
Somebody,
my husband's Catholic, so
okay.
I'll take anybody who was there actually at that time.
What did the CT scan show of your daughter before they left?
Before they left, the physician said that she has a frontal brain injury. And they didn't tell me to what severity or what was happening, but they said she was lucky because it was an open wound, and her forehead and structure was fractured. She said because of the traveling, she's going to look totally different when you get down there, and the swelling and everything, that the fractures would help her. It's positive to have that opening. So. And
they explained that because blood has somewhere to go.
Yeah, and the brain, the only way it knows to protect itself is to swell and to keep as much moisture in place, which is actually probably the worst thing for it. So they kept my daughter in a drug-induced coma from the minute she was actually put in the ambulance, or I guess departing from the vehicle, because they didn't want her to have any thrashing or other injuries caused by her motion or movement, or if she should have come around.
They already started surgery when you get to Madison?
No. No, I was able to see her. They did another CT scan of her, maybe another, I don't know if it was a CT scan or an MRI right now. I don't remember that, but I remember a nurse coming to get us and meeting them like in a nice open cross-section of the hospital. And she, the surgeon, the third-year surgeon, pediatric surgeon, was there and said, why wasn't she wearing a helmet when she was on the snowmobile? I'm kind of looking at her, what do you mean on the snowmobile? And I said, she wasn't on the snowmobile, she was in a truck. I said, the snowmobile was on the back of the vehicle, but nothing had happened. The snowmobile didn't move, didn't come through the cab. There was no, anyway, so I think that was just her story. She just misunderstood what had happened, and then they wheeled Maria out, and she was, the doctor, at that same time, I had my head turned towards the physician, and she had said, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're taking her forehead off, the forehead structure and skull, and we're going in and we're debriding, and we're going to take care of this, and it's going to be a 4 to 8 hour surgery. And then they wheeled Maria out, and the time had passed so much, and I had my best friend with me and my sister and brother, and when Maria came wheeled out into that area, no one knew who she was. She had swollen so much that her ears were little round puffballs, and she looked like a bad wrestler with cauliflower ear, and she had swollen from her ears all the way down to her shoulders, solid with fluid. She was just 4 hours of swelling, and I just grabbed her hand and I kissed it, and I kissed her on the cheek, and I said, you fight as hard as you can. I said, you're going to do it, you're going to come out of this, and I'm going to see you in a little while.
And that was before the surgery that you did?
That was before the surgery. Gave her a kiss and gave her her stuffed dog and her bear blanket, or whatever we called it, that I had just thought to bring with me on the way. And my sister was hugging my brother and crying, and my brother was crying, and Terry Jo was sitting on the floor because she thought she would pass out because she's never seen her like that before. And Terry Jo, that's my friend, she is Maria's godmother. So she was holding onto my leg at the same time. I don't know if she was afraid she'd pass out and hit the floor, and I'm turning around to them like, what's the matter, you guys? And I totally forgot that they never saw her in the hospital. Didn't understand that this is how bad this was. Didn't realize that this is what we're dealing with.